Hey everybody, it is episode 355.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prime Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Skip Wies, and I have Dr. Julie Wies with me, coming off of a week off, which was a little bit weird for us to not tape a podcast. That's the first podcast we had chosen to take a week off in 3 years.
Well, we're talking about habits today, so
Yep.
that sometimes habits die hard, sometimes habits need to get retrained,
Yep.
sometimes habits need to go to the wayside and we have to learn something different.
Well, yeah, and I think at times to break a habit, you need to actually take a break. Unfortunately, we had gotten sick. This is the first time we had gotten a really good, like good and sick, me, you, and Peyton, in probably, 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. That was rough.
But it was rough, but it was also good for our bodies.
Yeah, it was needed, and that was one of the things that getting sick is actually needed. So we talk habits right away. Habitually getting sick, not okay. Really bad. Your immune system's suppressed. Your nervous system runs your immune system. Therefore, if your immune system's lowered, your nervous system communication is lowered. It's not going to run as effectively. But also, there is another habit of not getting sick, which is not good for your body. I personally feel it's almost worse than somebody who chronically gets sick. They weigh about the same.
Yeah, it's not we shouldn't be afraid of getting sick. It's if
Right.
we are constantly getting sick. And sometimes it can just be just like a quick runny nose, sore throat. But again, those are different things that bolster and build up our immune system, which
Yeah.
are really important for our body.
Yeah, super important.
Not
And
in the moment.
That's well, you got to keep reminding yourself this is good for me, even though I feel like crap. And no, it wasn't a digestive issue or like a food poisoning issue. It was legit. I think legitimately we may have actually gotten the flu. I don't know, but it was bones hurt, legs hurt, fevers. But that actually is what the flu is. A lot of people feel that the flu is puking, diarrhea, all these digestive issues, when really that's a bacterial load. That's usually food poisoning. It could be Enterobacter, Helicobacter, whatever you want to call it. But real flu is actually fever, chills, can't move, super tired, want to sleep, headaches, sinus congestion. That's what that is.
The important thing is those are signs and symptoms that our body is giving us, and we feel like crap, and that means that we need to take that time to rest
And bolster it up.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to rest. And that's another habit too. A lot of people are habitually busy. They want it, you cannot rest. You got to stay busy. You have to always be moving. And that was a hard thing for us too, is I felt like I needed to do stuff, and so did you. And we literally, both of us had to say to each other, it's okay that we're not doing anything right now. It's okay. And we had to say that to our daughter as well.
Yep.
Because Peyton, she likes to stay busy. She likes to study. She stays, she talks with her friends. She's I don't want to say social, but she's really good at just staying.
Well, I would say anytime
anything
that
she wants to
we
do.
think that we know better, our body, God, He's going to put us back in our place
Yeah.
to say, nope, this is your time to rest. You're not expected to do anything. You really shouldn't do anything. And should you choose to do something, it's only going to prolong how long that sickness typically stays. Because if you're
Yeah.
not getting your rest, you're not allowing that body to recuperate and get over it.
Exactly. And that's one of the things we had to tell Peyton. Was she's like, well, I need to study. I'm like, no, you don't. I said, you need to
But
rest.
do you really?
Yeah, do you really? You're smart as hell. You don't have to really worry about this stuff. But it was that, Peyton, it's okay. It's okay to not be busy today. And maybe that's something, though, that you, as a human and being out there in your relationships with your husband and your wife and your kids, is that it's okay to not do stuff sometimes. It really is. It's okay to have days of rest and to observe the Sabbath. To have a day off during the week, 7 days there's 7 days in the week, but if we look at the Bible and Scripture, we should have one day of rest where we don't do anything except just be with God and with each other and love on one another, and just be with each other, your kids, your spouse, your family, but not work. And a lot of Americans don't do that.
Well, and I think in this day and age, just because everything is just so hustle bustle, like we're
Right.
always doing so many things, I think we almost need to like buffer that, and it's at least like 2 days. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a whole day, but even if you have to, this is one of those like non-negotiable things, you have to carve it out on your calendar. And it's literally maybe it's just you sit and you snuggle, maybe you just watch a movie kind of a thing, but you like there's no agenda.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will put it on Sunday because of church, but maybe it should be your Saturday. Like Sunday should actually be, you should break that habit too. I would say that is Sunday should be your ramp up to the week. A lot of people take Sunday as the day off completely, where they're like, I'm not doing anything today. Well, guess what? You go back to work tomorrow. And then all of a sudden you get a case of the Mondays. Then you're like, oh, Mondays are slow and I don't like to do. It's because you never got up for Monday to begin with. And if you got up for Monday on Sunday and you started actually looking at what's to come for your week, you could have just been hitting the ground running on Monday instead of trying to recoup from the
Ramping
weekend
up.
on Monday. And that is a big thing. And I think another massive time suck that I should challenge all men and women out there is during, this might be blasphemy, but during football season, let's not observe Sunday as a football day. A lot of people will reserve their entire day, men and women, their entire weekend to watching a sport on TV. Literally sit there for hours on end and watch people aimlessly run up and down a football field and tackle each other when it has zero effect on your life. Even if you're sports betting, okay, I get it, then you're gambling, and like if you play fantasy, I understand that too. But again, it consumes you for no reason. None whatsoever.
Maybe if that is their downstroke of not doing anything from in their day, maybe they find that as a de-stressor. I think we could look at it that way. I think the biggest thing is the struggle that if that's solely all you're doing all day long, let's try to get a little bit of activity, a little bit of movement, interaction, I think as well.
Well, you lose vital time.
Right.
Vital time.
Yep.
You know, Julie, I don't want to go off topic here, but we met with one of our very close friends when we were out in Las Vegas with the kids in Nevada. We had a really nice holiday out there. Not doing Las Vegas things, doing Nevada things, hiking and going to the Grand Canyon and Red Rocks. But we met with some really great people. And one of those people is a retired chiropractor, and he was talking about some things he's dealing with some people on a very, very high level. And he said they're jealous because I have the one thing they don't have yet. And these people that he's talking about are influencers in the world. They have millions and millions and millions of followers, millions of dollars. And he said the one thing that they don't have yet, even in their 50s and 60s, is time. Time. He said, I have time. I can sit by. I don't have to do anything. I choose to. I don't have to. He goes, literally, I have days where I look at my wife and say, well, what do you want to do today? And he goes, they are all chasing time yet. They're all trying to get time back. And it was a perspective for me to sit and think and say, okay, do you need to make millions and millions of dollars to have time? Or do you actually have time already that you could actually be using to create an impact with your family instead of just sitting on the couch or, I think
we live by other people's perspectives. Maybe it was how we were raised or the expectation of, okay, we need to get all of these things done.
Yeah.
Right? Like we need to do this, this, and this. But sometimes when we back up and we actually like ask our kids, like when we go on a vacation, they don't want to do the traditional touristy stuff. They want to spend time together. And so I think sometimes we need to reframe the things that we are chasing as adults when we have families, or chasing as adults like when we're married with our spouse, and really figure out what is it that we actually want. And when we're talking about habits, it's when my calendar is so full, I can't fit that in there. It becomes a habit that we need to now carve out times. It needs to become a habit that we make time to do things with others, that we make time to go on vacation, that we make time to do these certain things. And then before we know it, then we don't need to be jealous of others anymore because we have that time scheduled. It became a habit in our calendars, what works for us, right? For everybody's going to have different habits and different things that are going to show up on their calendars. But you need to refocus and live, again, like I say, like if you don't decide what you want, the world is going to decide that for you. And I think we live with so many other people's calendars and expectations of what we need to get done in a day. And that maybe doesn't suit us personally. Maybe it doesn't suit us as a family.
Yeah, and then you're not happy. Like
You're always chasing.
You're always chasing, and then you're gonna live. You live this shell of who you really are, and you're trying to create this false narrative or facade when that's really not you. That's really not your family. That's really not what you stand on and what you want to do. And then if you do create boundaries, eventually you figure out what your family is. People sometimes get offended, and you have to be prepared for that. But if you don't have a lot of friends, there's nobody to offend. So just do what's right for your family, because in the end, your family is who's going to be there. Your family is who's going to show up at your funeral. And that was a perspective, too, is when you're hanging out with people, this is another thing about habits. Maybe you have the wrong habits of people around you, because think about this. Will they show up at your funeral when you die? Like when you're not on this earth anymore, when your soul is moved on to heaven and people show up to pay their respects, are they going to show up? Are they going to come? If you're on your deathbed, are they going to come to spend time with you? Your family does. A lot of your friends don't. You know, we saw that firsthand. And then we saw a lot of people try to buy back time with people that they weren't around. You know, I saw a lot of people that my mom had never seen in years just show up when my mom was dying of cancer that last month. And they wanted time. And all that we wanted as children was more time with our mom. And that is tough. So if you're in these habits right now at the beginning of this year where you are finding areas of your life where you just want time back, it's there. You just need to look and find where, okay, does this serve me or not? Is it if you're working a second job to pay for your family? I understand that. You're trying to create more money so you can have time with your family. But is that making that $80 extra on a Saturday, which really you're only making $50, worth the time away from your kids on a Saturday? But then if you were home, would you be intentful to be with your family, or would you find something else to distract you from the people around you? You know, are you doing something? I like yesterday, I took time. We had a really nice breakfast after church, and then I tried to take an hour with Peyton to go do something, which was actually fairly difficult with a 17-year-old because I'm trying to figure out what she wants to go do, and really all that she wanted to do was just take a trip to Costco with me. That was it, like an hour.
Right, and so we talk about the simplicity, right? We try to build it up to something big, and sometimes it's the simplest things, and really it's the time together. Yeah,
and then I take the big boy to go hit some golf balls for 90 minutes. Which is great because we can sit there and giggle and laugh and really make stupid 8th grade jokes at each other. But it's a different dynamic with our kids. But then in that time of that 60 minutes with Peyton, like the 5-minute car ride, she confides in me. And that's pretty special. So if you can find time to just take with your kids and break that up with your loved ones. So if you don't have kids, are there times that you can just take 15 to 20 minutes in your day and check in with somebody in your family?
Well, you always, like, in the back of your head, you're probably thinking, oh, yeah, I should call that person.
Yeah.
That's when you really need to call that person.
You do, and see what's going on. And you haven't talked to them in a few days. Well, talk to them. And if they're not calling you, who cares? Force the issue and call them anyways. Because in their mind, they're probably thinking of you as well. They're just making the same damn excuse as you are not to call you because they've got other things that might seem more important than 10 minutes of checking in. And those are the things you're going to miss that at the time when things really hit the fan and if you lose somebody or if your time wasn't well spent, you're going to miss that. And then you're going to try to make it up. And you, at some point, you can't. At some point, you cannot.
So I think it's a reevaluate the habits that you're
Yeah.
living right now. And do you need to, recircle? Do you need some new habits, better habits, and good habits?
Good habits. Like, what are things that we can do? And we've talked about this over the last 3 years. What are some things that we can do as a whole to spend time with everybody around us and make it meaningful? And sometimes that's just like a board game. But other times it could be a trip. It could be a weekend together. It could be just a couple hours. But where can we add those things in, which then allow us then to take away the negative time spent? And what I like to see is that people aren't on their phone as much now. They're starting to pull away from it. They are. Like for example, me and Brecken were hitting golf balls last night. And there was some guys there too, but none of them were on their phone. I mean, and they had time to be on their phone. Like, there was a couple years ago when I was there, like, everybody would hit, and then they'd just be on their phone, and then they'd go and hit again. And now they're enjoying each other, and it's changed.
Perspective. Yep.
It's just perspective, and change some of these habits. You don't have to always, for your resolutions for the new year, the new year, cleaning out the closet, whatever you want to call it. You don't necessarily have to constantly add in new things, but maybe there's a couple things that you can eliminate this year. That everybody
there's
tries
probably
to add.
a lot of things a lot of people need to eliminate. And I think sometimes if we can just get rid of that, that is going to open up a huge time boundaries for us.
Yeah, what do you think is one of the most restrictive time things in your life?
Well, I would say just in general, social media for people.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that just consumes you. It just does. And that's what it's been designed to do. And when you're a small business owner, you have to learn how to you kind of are on both sides of it. You don't want to be consuming social media yourself, but then you want your clients to be consuming social media so they can see what you're doing. It's a double-edged sword. It's very hard.
Absolutely.
It's very hard. Because I'm like, man, I don't want to be on my phone, yet I really want my clients on their phone so they can actually see or listen to what we have to say. Or, you guys tune in and listen to a 23 or 24-minute podcast. I want you on here listening to us and listening to what we have to say. And maybe we can provide some insight into your lives because we're just humans. But then on the other side of it is I hope this is the only 25 minutes you spend a day is with us, or if it's with your family. But then after that, like, maybe you don't need to be on your phone the next 4 hours. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
It's turning into, okay, what is really of value to you? And I think maybe just start ranking that. And if something that you really value is lower ranking on that, you need to figure out how to switch that up and switch it up before somebody else, makes you have to do that.
Yeah, because at some point, if your values and your time system aren't aligned, God will make you pay attention, whether you like it or not, and it might be extremely painful to just make you pay attention to the people around you, make you pay attention to Him, and to put you back into perspective. And as much as I don't like negative reinforcement works. But so does positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement works way better. But God's going to make you pay attention. And He's going to put it all in perspective with either a loss somewhere. It'll happen. But He will also, once you work yourself through that loss, and whatever it is, whether it's a loved one or finances or it doesn't matter, you come out on the other side of it better. And there's usually massive, massive gain in return from it.
And if not, you're going to continue to learn the lesson.
Yeah, you just struggle. People be like, I just keep struggling. Well, what have you done differently? Where are the signs or the universe, or I don't like saying the universe, what are the signs that God has been showing you that He wants you to go down and you just keep ignoring it? Because it's just uncomfortable, or it's something that you in your mind just don't want to do, but it makes sense. I've had these times where like it makes sense, but I just don't want to do it. I'm like, there's got to be something different here. And it's not. So then I have to do it and struggle through it and figure out a way to get it done. And I mean, that's just what it is, you know? This has been an interesting episode. This is a good episode. I like this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we're back after a week. It's episode 355. Like, it's a big, like people will say it's a big episode. 355 episodes of the Prime podcast, and before that, like an educational chiropractic podcast. Like, that's a lot of episodes.
Just a couple.
That's like 7 years. That's pretty great. So thank you guys for joining us. Share this to whoever you want to share it to. Maybe you guys can just share it and then talk about it. Have a little group. I don't know. I think it'd be great. Is there anything else you want to add in this week?
No.
We'll see you all next week. Have a great week. Bye, everyone.